So I stumbled upon this video and I would love you guys to listen to it, and I will say my mind after the video.
What contribution do you see from the African continent in terms of global manufacturing horsepower?
Oh, manufacturing? None, very little. Africa is a series of stacked plateaus, so just getting the infrastructure in there to access anything is very difficult. And while they do have very high birth rates and a more stable population structure, a lot of that is only possible because they export raw commodities and then import the things that allow them to have a degree of modernity. You break down global supply chains, a lot of that goes away. And so I think a lot of Africa is going to devolve. And they just don't have the infrastructure or the skilled labor that's necessary to participate at scale. And even if they did, in a less robust security environment, the connections necessary to make that happen are going to be very thin. So I think it's far more likely that the North American manufacturing system will start incorporating pieces of South America. We already have free trade deals with Colombia and Chile, for example. But yeah, I'm afraid that Africa really can't be part of that. Now, we might see pieces of Africa following the Indian model. I can see Nigeria becoming broadly self-sufficient. I can see a partial reboot of South Africa, but that's for their own domestic markets rather than any sort of international connection.
For those of you who don't really understand what he said, what he's basically saying is that he doesn't see any form of contribution from Africa in terms of global manufacturing, even in the nearest future. Hi, it's Ozzy again. Don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel. Now back to the topic, don't go nowhere. You know what I find funny? I highly doubt that he believes what he actually said, because imagine someone saying that the raw materials they use in their global manufacturing are actually gotten from Africa, and Africa actually has a very high birth rate, but then he doesn't see the possibility of Africa having any form of contribution in global manufacturing, even in the nearest future. And even in Nigeria he mentioned, and South Africa he mentioned, saying okay, he sees them going the Indian way. He is saying that they will just be producing for local purposes. It won't go to the international level. Imagine, as in, this is the height of insult. These people are just saying things that they will say just to belittle Africans and make Africans feel like really they have nothing to offer, and no matter how hard we try, we just can't get to that stage which we have the potential to get. These people know our worth, they know our value, they know exactly what we are capable of. In fact, they know our potential more than us. You are saying that the people with the raw materials, you don't think that they can contribute anything. And I don't really blame these people. The people I blame are our African leaders, because we have so much potential. Almost all the resources they use in manufacturing, almost everything they manufacture on earth are gotten from Africa. I know that they also have their own resources, but most of the resources used in their tech, in everything, are mostly gotten from Africa. But then these people will have the guts to come out and say, no, they don't see Africa contributing anything. I don't blame them, I blame our African leaders. You see why I said we really need good African leaders, but unfortunately, they will still not leave us alone so that we can actually elect good leaders. And even if we try our best to elect good leaders, they will still impose the wrong ones on us, the ones that they can puppeteer, the ones that they can control. Because hearing things like this is very disheartening. It's an insult to Africa, considering the amount of resources we have in Africa. Considering that it is the African resources that have been taken for so many years now that is keeping a lot of countries afloat. It is the resources from Africa that is helping some certain countries to be where they are today. Let's not forget about colonization. That one is just a topic for a different day. He who has the resources is supposed to be the one calling the shots. It's supposed to be the one running the shit. But unfortunately, it's not so for Africans, simply because Africans don't know what we are worth. We don't know our potential. A lot of Africans don't even know what's going on. A lot of Africans don't even know that what we have in Africa is enough to keep us self-sufficient, and not just Nigeria or South Africa alone. The whole of Africa can be self-sufficient if we want and still contribute to that global manufacturing he's talking about. We have the resources and we have the population.
Raw materials and workforce are some of the most important things needed in production, and Africa has it all. The only thing I will say Africa does not have is good leaders and good education system, because if we don't have good education system, how can we even know what to use our resources and do? So these people come and take our resources because they know what those resources can do for them, but we that have it in our own soil, we do not know what to use it and do, so we just leave it to waste away. This is why Africans need to ignore what those outsiders are saying and wake up to realize that we actually have what it takes. And the only thing we need to do for now is to take control of our resources and start from there, a step at a time. Because these people actually know that we have potential, but they're only saying all these things so that we will not realize our worth. Because if we realize our potential, then it's a threat to their own development.
You see this birth rate they talk about, they've always used it as a form of insult, trying to insinuate that all Africans are good at is just populating the earth and giving birth. We are just so useless, we just give birth, that's all we can think of. Because that is exactly the hints, the slight jabs they keep throwing at us for centuries now. They insinuate that the only thing an African person knows how to do is to reproduce. We have nothing to contribute to this earth. While taking our resources, and the resources they take, I assure you, they're not paying for it. Most of the resources they take from Africa, they take it for free because we don't have good leaders. They just take it however they want, and that is why we as Africans, we need to start thinking about what we will do for ourselves. We need to start thinking about how to start going into production. When I came across that video, I was like, come on, you can't be serious. Like, is this a joke or something? Is this a joke? You're taking people's resources and we are saying you don't see the possibility. Of course, why would you see the possibility? He can't see the possibility because he knows that the leaders they are installing in Africa are weaklings. They can do nothing. They can do no damn thing. They can't do anything that is actually going to support the growth of Africa. Because why? They're just puppets. So, of course, why would they see possibility? And they have already seen that Africans are too scared. That's why they will always try to reduce the self-esteem of Africans to make us believe that we are capable of doing nothing other than reproducing. It's obvious they are not ready to let us be. If they say we cannot contribute anything globally in terms of manufacturing, why not leave us alone? Leave our resources alone, or at least pay for the resources you take. Then let's watch and see whether we can actually contribute anything globally or not. When you leave Africa alone, we can then decide whether we can contribute or not. Then the whole world will now see what we are actually capable of. You don't just sit down and say, oh, you don't see the... What do you mean by that? What do you mean by that? We have potential. We know we have potential. There's nothing. See, gone are the days these people will just come out on the media and start portraying all manner of things, and we will believe and think, oh, we have nothing. Gone are the days. These days, we know what we have. A lot of people are waking up. We know our resources. We know that a lot of things that are being run in the world are being used from the resources of Africa. Most of these technologies they are inventing on a daily basis, many of the resources are gotten from Africa. Just the end produce is not produced in Africa, but the resources, the raw material being used are gotten from Africa. So without that raw material, what can they do? If we decide that, okay, let's take back our resources, if you want it, you pay for it, then where do you think they're headed? They'll have no choice but to actually go the right way to take resources, because they will have to pay for it. And if they are going to be paying for it, we are going to be benefited. We are going to be developing our countries. We are also going to be able to use our own resources to produce in our own countries. The problem is bad leaders. Bad leaders. When will Africa start having good leaders? That's one thing that's what I want to know. Because anyway, don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel. Bye.